Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, your resident tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is your Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Well, there you have it, folks. It looks like the second half of October is going to be hyped with a very, and might I say, extremely popular mecha series from the early mid-thousands. Gurren Lagann is finally getting a spotlight on the Medarot Row Battle stage, with not just one, not two, not three, but 7 different models that you see here. We have a lot of excitement between now and the end of, or rather mid-November going forward, based on how the collaboration was announced. We have lots of events, lots of rewards, and lots of extremely powerful skills that are going to be added to the game. Just with the first 3 models alone, we have a lot of new stuff coming to the game that absolutely is going to start shaking up the meta. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what was officially announced for this week, starting with the gacha banners and who to expect in this week's lineup. Now, this lineup is going to be just a little bit busy for the first week of the collaboration with 2 models. The first of which here, featuring the iconic super robot of Gurren Lagann itself, TGL-01 Gurren Lagan, with an almost entirely new kit of power drain, drill, lock blow, biped legs, and a brand new leg ability of thrust. Now, to explain Gurren Lagann briefly, a lot of the skills that it's going to be bringing to the table that are new are going to be putting a very, very large emphasis on pierce damage. Now, in the past, we have had a handful of skills alone that do this already, such as Rokusho A's sword, which has a 50% damage bonus when piercing. But this time around, Gurren Lagann has an entire kit built around boosting that bonus damage as much as feasibly possible. Between 2 very powerful skills, one that guarantees everything's going to be painful, and a leg ability that makes it even more so, this one's going to be the drill that pierces the heavens when it comes to breaking any kind of damage numbers. The other model that we're going to be seeing joining the banners is TGL-02 Tengen Kamina, with also an entirely new kit of Last Cheer, Bomb Sword, Revenge Hammer, biped legs, and a brand new leg ability of Last Run. Now, to explain Tengen Kamina briefly, basically he is the glass cannon to end all glass cannons. Last Cheer basically reduces all his HP to 1 at the cost he gets a ×5 success and damage bonus, but also at the cost that when he gets down to that point, he stays at that point. The damage bonus may only last for 1 turn, but his damage from Last Run will boost everything else just a little bit higher to make sure he stays on the field as long as possible. So between these 2 models alone, we're featuring some very powerful skills both for piercing and for the definition of glass cannon for the first week of the collaboration, and we feature a couple of very iconic faces to also feature as the boosted rates for both these 2 banners. Those 2 in particular are for KBT-06 Arc Beetle D, with a kit of laser, rifle, gatling, biped legs, and B-loader, who can meta change into a proper Rhino Beetle type form with a kit of Hyper Beam, Power Rifle, Mega Gatling, Flight Legs, and Adapter. Alongside him, we also have KWG-06 Tyrell Beetle with Desperate, Double Beam Sword, biped legs, and the leg ability of Fortress. When meta changing, he also assumes a closer to the ground type of form with a kit of Laser, Break, Napalm, Wheeled Legs, and the leg ability of Adapter. Something to mention on both of these models is a friendly reminder that they are also meta change type models, so you will either get the entire model all at once or none at all. But it also is worth noting that both of these models have tune-up added to them, so even if you end up getting one of these 2 and that was your big ticket item, you can farm them even further through the event or through specialized dungeons, where you can also earn extra perks, such as Arc Beetle D's Gatling now eating 4 charges of any shield it eats instead of 3, reduced requirement for laser, lower recoil penalty with Tyrell Beetle's Desperate, lots of perks on the table if you choose to go after either of them. So even if you don't end up getting a Gurren Lagann or even Tengen Kamina, you still can walk away from the banners with a pretty solid consolation prize with some very solid beetle types at your disposal. For the fierce battles, we have going on this week, it's going to be another high variety week round 2 with a lot of very diverse skills, all of which are very extremely useful in their own right. On the top row, we have TND0 Tank Dunk with Napalm, Missile, Gatling, Tank Legs, and Bullet Rain. APL-01 Top Gunner with Radar Sight, Double Missile, Flight Legs, and Aim. And MDZ-0 Meduzard with Freeze, Sword, Counter Guard, Multi-Legs, and P-Loader. On the bottom row, we have OWL-03 Minarova with Laser, Free Shot, Press, Float Legs, and Torturer. SPR-0 Blue Corundum with Optic Guard, Press, Beam, Sea Legs, and Brilliance. And SCB-0 Kanabunbun with Triple Bug, Multi-Legs, and Spearhead. So honestly, like I said, a lot of very solid skills to be had between these 6 models alone. Just to explain them briefly, Tank Dunk for Tank Legs and Bullet Rain will be really nice for all your long-range nukers. Top Gunner mostly for your AoE coverage with Missile. Meduzard mostly for kind of your mixed-range melee support between Counter Guard and also Freeze Sword. Minarova probably will end up being the MVP of the week though, primarily on the grounds it has a lot of very diverse skills you can use, and Free Shot also is extremely useful in very early game, of being able to buy yourself a few extra seconds of time, but also guaranteeing the next hit that lands on them will be guaranteed to land and guaranteed to crit no matter what. Blue Corundum also will be nice for essentially for budget sea legs as you will need them, and Brilliance as well for HP restoration if you do need it. And Kanabunbun for Triple Bug for your turn skipping if you are able to successfully outrun enemies, and Spearhead on Multi-Legs does give him a little bit more of a speed advantage compared to other enemies that he might be running against. So again, it is worth farming all 6 of them just to have, but Minarova will definitely be the big one you want to push for if you want to invest in anyone more intensely. Now, much like with previous collabs, we also have a new set of Medarotters that will be going live with the collaboration as well. And might I say, when it comes to emphasizing power, this is probably going to be the toughest batch of any collab we've had so far. We've had Medarotters that emphasize on crit damage, on crit rate, or even boosting likelihood of crits in general, but these 4 in particular, 3 of which have massive boosts to specific parts or skills based on which one you're using. Salt, dressed as Kamina, will be having an emphasis on left arm and drive C with a 1-turn power boost of plus 1000. Pasala will buff right arm and drive B also with the same value, and Tenma will buff head and drive A at the same value. So between all 3 of those, it puts a very strong emphasis on that next hit being as extremely painful as possible. Mio, on the other hand, will have a little bit more of a generalized user-friendly buff, as it will buff power relative to 75% of the user's charge gauge for 2 turns. So a little more user-friendly because you have some more leg room essentially and some more wiggle room as far as what you're able to do with this, and the power will directly scale relative to how much charge you have. So naturally, the more charge you have, the more bonus you get from that when added and activating the skill. For the event itself, it is going to be a score attack, so for starting on a fairly easy and simple foot as far as collaborations are concerned. This time around, we have an opportunity to earn TGL0 TOPPA Simone, which is the first brand new model of the series, featuring Full Charge, CGU Blow, CG Gift, Biped Legs, and Heroic. We can also earn the Minor Medal, which is a Power Nature medal with a Mastery in Melee, Support, and Setup, and a Leg Mastery in Biped, Tank, and C. And we can also earn 3 additional Gurren Lagann themed profile banners for our profile cards, and of course, the monthly gacha tickets for the month of October. So we have a lot of really big stuff, and between Gurren Lagann, Tengen Kamina, and now TOPPA Simone, we have a lot of brand new skills, and just based on what I saw of TOPPA Simone himself, that'll probably be one of the best, and I don't use this term lightly, one of the best freebie collab models that we will have ever received in the game to date, as a one-man Metaforce battery either to supply to himself or to others in the party that lack CG sustain. So he is going to definitely be changing a lot of metas with what he brings to the table for any parties that need CG sustain but couldn't fit it in. This event will be score attack, like I said, so pure sets will be encouraged. So if you're looking for any particular highlights on which models to push for, do consult the previous slides as well for highlights on that and who will be yielding the bonuses. Now, of course, what is a collab without some extra paid skins to join join the fun? This time around, we have paid skins both for TOPPA Simone and for Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann in particular does give him the appearance of the Tengen TOPPA Gurren Lagann from the series, which is another very iconic form of the well-known Super Robo from the series. Naturally, these will be paid, so you do have to buy them from the in-game, specifically the in-game currency shop, but aside from the skin, they do also come with a handful of paid rubies that you can use in any paid manners, so a little bit of a bonus there. However, it is also worth noting that given that TOPPA Simone is the event reward, you do get him for free anyway, and the skin will mostly just be there if you want it. So you don't need to go after skins if you don't need them, but friendly reminder, you do need to have the model in order to use the skin, or it just simply looks pretty in your library. Now, as far as Meta Survivor is concerned, though, it is nothing really to note of there aside from one brand new model that is joining the game, and that is the iconic Blackmail that is going to be the only model going live this week as far as what to expect. Naturally, as anyone who knows Black Ram will tell you and expect, he puts a very heavy emphasis on damage plus as a DPS. And according to what I was reading, his master skill also does give him the ability to ignore certain shields or barriers when attacking. So particularly bulky enemies that like to get in your way, this might be a really good way to possibly keep them from interrupting any particular skills or DPS that you're trying to get a hold of. Now, like I said, he is the only model that we're getting this week as far as Meta Survivor is concerned, so nothing really to report there as far as overall news is concerned. But if you are a fan of the iconic DVL type that started the series, this is definitely your chance if you're looking for a very solid all-around DPS. Now, moving to community-based stuff, though, as always, we are continually looking for translators to assist us with any of our ongoing projects or endeavors. Right now, with the big emphasis being on Medarot 4, we are in need of translators, coders, and cleaners more than anything else. So if you are knowledgeable in any of those three, or if you know somebody that might be willing to, definitely feel free to give us a shout, reach out to me personally, or join our Discord in the link provided below, and we can fill you in on what still needs done. Alternatively, you can also donate to the cause with a link to Variant's crowdfunding in the comments below as well, where we can commission to have some of those extra lines of text translated on our behalf, which will make the load on the translators just a little bit easier so they can focus on typesetting and cleaning. If you'd like to help with this project or with anything else, or if you're curious about it all, you're more than welcome to reach out to me or join our Discord like I said, and we can fill you in on what has been done and what still needs done. Another reminder as far as the community is concerned is that we are now at the official halfway mark for the Project Rising Beetle Ori Meta contest, starting on September 16th and going to November 11th for a solid 2 months. We are halfway between then and now, so there is still plenty of time for you all to submit your entries for the contest in the Discord in the specified channels. There is no theming for this one, so it is a free-for-all to design whatever you want, however you see fit. And the rewards are not only personalized art drawn by yours truly, much like I have in previous contests, but there is a cash prize on the table for anyone that does make those top spots. So if you are interested in something a little more lucrative, this is definitely going to be the contest for you. Those channels and with all the rules and more information will be provided in the Discord as well, so do be sure you check them out there if you'd like to see more information or ask around. Now, as far as streaming is concerned, as a friendly reminder, I do have another art stream coming up here this coming Friday, the October 17th. I'll be having another dear friend with me, Kyla Neko, joining me for another Ori Meta design stream. So much like I did with Falco in this last one, I have zero idea what we're going to be designing because Kyla will be bringing a couple of prompts to the stream that we will decide on, and from there refine one specific design into an official model. So do make sure you tune in with me and Kyla here this coming Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I would love to have you guys with us as we design and just kind of vibe overall and talk about just a little bit of everything as we're going through the design process. On the topic of art, as a friendly reminder, I am also always open for commission, so if you are looking for a live 2D model ready to rig, 3D model, or VTuber 64 models, which is a new service I'm offering with the works, I do have that. Standard 2D art as well, I am also willing to do. You can reach out to me on Twitter, Discord, Blue Sky, whatever your social media platform of choice is. That's the best place you can do it. I will do just about anything, mostly with an emphasis on mecha as you see here, and of course will not do anything NSFW or gore. So fairly simple rules, but you can reach out to me as well, and we can most certainly try to coordinate a waybill and make something happen. But with all that being said, that does basically cover everything for this week's episode. So, like I said, it's going to be extremely exciting for the second half of October leading into mid-November as a hype up to lead into Medarot Day 2025. But if you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page or the Metabots Forever communities that I do also run and manage. The Facebook community now cresting nearly 51,000 members and still growing. You can also join us on Discord, like I said, in the link provided and in the comments below to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new links to merchandise, fan art, contests, my weekly episodes, or anything else of the like. That is the first place you will hear it before it goes anywhere else. And you can also reach out to me personally, like I said, if you have any suggestions, feedback, ideas, or if you'd like to collaborate or commission me, I would love to hear from you as well. I do also officially have a official website on Card that has all my socials and general commission information as well if you'd like to see more information or where to reach out to me. Do also follow Kylo Neko as well as my resident guest that will be joining the MNN here pretty soon this coming Friday, but also for another reason. Not only is he a fellow VTuber, a fellow fan of Medarot, but also a Linux VTuber. So if you are interested in learning how to VTube and stream and do the content creation business on Linux, you definitely don't have to look much farther than Kylo, because they focus almost exclusively on that, and very, very informative information what they bring. Lastly, you may also notice my BGM's a little different this time around. I'm trying something new from another content creator that I've followed for a very long time, HydroGene, which does a lot of softcore or even progressive rock covers of certain games, but most importantly, he does a lot of covers for Dark Cloud 2, which, for those that have known me this long will know, it is one of my favorite games of all time, so naturally he is one of my favorite artists, and I got permission from HydroGene to use his new cover of the tutorial theme of Dark Cloud 2 as a BGM for when I stream or go live, so I'm trying it for a while to see what you guys think. But that being said, please do follow HydroGene as well to support them in what they do, and go see their YouTube channel as well. But with all that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping in, just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.